Hi. Okay, so this is part three to Inner Balance. If you haven't watched part one and two, maybe do that so that this makes sense. Um, and I'm trying to go from one to the other and make sense as well. um, so we left off with basically with trauma spotting. So it is key to first realize you have trauma, second, to spot the trauma, then take steps towards healing. And I was also speaking about parental wounding and finding forgiveness. And it doesn't just have to be with parents, it can be from an ex partner, uh, romantic relationship, friendship. It can be a lot of things. You know, we all experience trauma. We all have trauma. Um, so yeah. Uh, and so trying to make some kind of sense to you guys and stay focused here with Sonia. Hi, Sonia. I know. Yeah. You have to be part of it too, don't you? Um, so anyway, uh, so when we're able to first realize for whatever reason that we have a trauma, um, for me, uh, it took losing everything to realize that I had traumas and that I was numbing them out with alcohol and drugs. And um, so yeah, that those became problems for me. Obviously they are going to for anybody, because um, that's addiction. uh, and it's, you know, for me it was a lot easier to drink or, you know, get high and forget about those pains and those traumas, because I wasn't dealing with them in a healthy way. The traumas, that is. There's no way of dealing with alcohol and addiction in a healthy way. I don't think. I mean, other than you realizing you have an addiction or that you are an alcoholic and then trying to heal and let go of that. Um, anyway, so spot the trauma, try to heal it. If that trauma includes a past person, um, or a parental wound or whatever the trauma may be, and whatever it stems from or comes from, if it comes from another person, you need to forgive them to find healing. And it's also essential to ask forgiveness to people you've hurt in your life. If you are dealing with alcoholism or addiction, that's something I learned in AA, and it's in the big book. You know, one of the steps is writing an apology letter to people you've hurt. And I know, like, for, you know, I knew I was in addiction and I knew it was a problem long before I went to sober living and got my life back together. And so I had apologized to people I had hurt, obvious people that I had hurt, you know, many times. So when I actually healed and started to find healing, I had to go and explain that to each person I had already apologized to. And it's hard to go to somebody and say, I know I've apologized to you for this, but I was just saying whatever I thought would get me through to the next fix, to the next drink, to whatever. And then having to say, I know I did these things to you and I'm sorry. And this time I mean it. Because this time it's coming from a place of healing, and having to tell that person, for me, I had to tell a few people that I'm sorry, and I know I've said it to you before, but this time I really mean it. So, and then at that point, if they know, if you've asked for a forgiveness and apologize, and it came from a place of a true place in your heart, and you meant it, and you actually know what you did to that person, you own it and apologize to them from a pure place in your heart, it's up to them at that point to excuse me, either forgive you or not. And maybe they won't forgive you, but from this point, you've realized you've asked for forgiveness, and it's coming from a pure place. So then it's time to let go of that. Do a burn letter. I've done those, and they are so beneficial. They really do help. Write a letter, or it doesn't even have to be a letter. You could just write down some kind of trauma, past, whatever. Write it out on a piece of paper, and then get it all out. Get all of that out on a piece of paper, and then burn it and release it. And when you set it on fire, I mean, please do this in a safe place, and don't start like a house fire or wildfire or anything like that, but do it in a safe place that you could burn something. And when you light it on fire, be saying in your mind or out loud, I release this. I release this. There is so much purification that comes in fire. And, got to reference the Phoenix. That's a beautiful thing. So fire brings purification. And I'm not encouraging anyone to go out and be a pyro. That is not what I'm saying. But, I'm just trying to speak to a collective that is on a healing journey, a spiritual journey, and wanting to attain knowledge on spirituality and healing. And, and I know that collective, that those people that I'm talking about and to are going to understand what I'm saying. But for any, cheap seats in the back, I am not encouraging pyromania, or for you to light fires and start fires in inappropriate places. I just want to clear that up. I don't want my video to get taken down off YouTube. So, anyway, release. So, yeah. So once you've asked for forgiveness, like I said, they can choose to forgive you or not. But at that point, you will then know in your heart of hearts, deep down in your soul, that you've done everything you could to make amends with that person. And if they choose to forgive you, that's beautiful. If they can't, maybe they will. But it's not something to worry about. because we're all human and we all make mistakes. And I don't think any of us, maybe some people do. I have never done this. So I'm just going to speak to myself or speak about myself. I've never gone out with the ill intention of hurting someone and saying, I'm going to go do this to hurt them. And I then in turn, for the good of humanity and my hope and faith in humanity, I have to in turn believe that there are a lot of other people out there that do the same things. We self-destruct, and then it hurts others around us but that's something for another topic in another video with addictions and things like that. But so anyway, I don't know. I'm chasing rabbits again, and I want to get this download out. I want this to be the third and final video, hopefully. So anyway, yes, let's get back to forgiveness. So you've asked them for forgiveness. You've identified that you've done something to hurt somebody. You've asked forgiveness. They can forgive you or not, but you then have to forgive yourself. And that is hard. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, is forgive myself. And I'm not saying forget. Forgetting and forgiveness are two different things. Forgetting something and forgiving something are two different things. Sometimes in relationships, we can forgive another person, but it's hard to forget. And then that becomes toxic, because we'll throw it back up in that person's face, because it's an insecurity that we have, that they've asked forgiveness for it, and we've told them that we forgive them, but it's hard to forget when someone hurts you. So anyway, so forgive yourself. And I'm just trying to lead you to a path of inner balance and healing. So getting back to trauma spotting, when we can spot the trauma, then we can work on it, we can heal it, and we can forgive. Okay? And the only way you're going to get or find inner peace and understanding, compassion, love, is through healing. And you can't heal if you don't love yourself. And then too, like the traumas that I had from my kids' dad and our relationship ending, and then my father passing, those two things in a very short time frame did leave abandonment wounds in me. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now I realize that. And so I created a trauma bond with someone that was there for me when nobody else was. And somebody that was with me through some of the person that was there with me through the darkest part of my life, and they know who they are. It was unhealthy, because he was there for me, but I then started to rely on him for things that he couldn't bring me. Yeah, he was there, and he was there with me through some really hard times, and this person knows who they are, and we've had a conversation about it, and I've thanked them for that. And so but I just always thought, well, if he was around, that everything would be okay. That's a lot to, and that's something I haven't apologized to him for, which I feel like I probably should now. But that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. Think about that. Like, if you do have a trauma bond and you think about somebody like that in your life, think about what kind of weight you're putting on them. This is a different way of looking at it, and I haven't really thought about it this way, but it's coming out, so I'm going to go with it. That's, you can't put your happiness off on somebody else. Like, if he's here, then everything's going to be okay. If he's here, I'm going to be happy. If he's here, blah, blah, blah. No. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I get started on one thing and then I can see so many other ways or things that I need to also talk about. So that's why I'm kind of struggling here, guys. And I hope you can bear with me and forgive me through these last two videos. So, and this phone and the charging situation is really getting on my nerves too. So those traumas I had led me to a codependent trauma bond with a person, but it also led me to not being balanced. So when we come into balance with our feminine and masculine energy the way they should be, which is balanced, which means we should not be living out of, an overpowering masculine energy like I was as a single mom, because you've got to find that the qualities of the masculine, the qualities of the feminine that I read off in the first video on inner balance. You've got to heal the traumas within you and the things within you that has thrown you out of balance. So when you have that inner balance and your yin and yang are balanced and you have that, you're embodying the qualities of both the divine feminine and divine masculine together simultaneously. That's the conclusion. So, I don't know how great these have been, but I love you guys, and I'm trying. And I'm going to get off of here and enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Hope you do the same. Peace.